as you already heard, sharing is caring. And really what, I guess I should start off by introducing myself. My name is James. I've had experience with internet marketing and I guess web development for probably maybe 10 years. So I'm all self-taught. Currently I'm in school. I'm doing a master's program in media psychology, where I'm really trying to figure out why we use the internet, how we use it, positive, the negative, and the future of it, and what that means for us as individuals in society, which is a mouthful, but it's pretty important because it seems that all we do online now is share information, and in the information age, that's all there really is to do is share information. So it'd be a great idea to I think, for the future to understand why that all happens. And then we have Chris.
I am Miss Vandal. My blog is fashionvandals.com. A little bit about myself. I'm a writer for Gothic Beauty magazine. I'm a designer. And my blog, Fashion Vandals, is basically a celebration of alternative fashion and beauty. Next slide.
Got it.
All right. Yeah, it explores new brands, features designers, and I also have a lot of personal accounts about my own fashion endeavors. I do some stylist work, and I style and produce fashion editorials. Bless you. And I do interviews and product reviews, and a little bit about why I feel the need to, have this blog and share it with everyone. First of all, community. I mean, we live in Wilkes-Barre. It's not a booming city. I'm really into goth and punk fashion. My blog has a lot of subcultural fashion, steampunk, neo-Victorian, just everything edgy and innovative and loud that you're not going to find in a mainstream fashion blog or magazine. So really, I just wanted to reach out to people in small communities who can't find an outlet or who can't find people to relate to their styles. And I mean, I'm 26 and I still love goth fashion, which a lot of people find weird, and there's a lot of older people who are like, oh, I'm kind of shy about dressing loud and expressing myself. So I just wanted to empower people and just make them feel like there's a sense of community, encourage them to just be themselves. I do a lot of interviews with alternative models, people who are apparently too short to be a mainstream model, apparently too heavy, have too many piercings, things like that, just to show everyone, beauty is however you feel it needs to be. And there are a lot of good fashion blogs out there, but I really feel like it's still underrepresented, what I do. There's a lot of alternative blogs, but some of them are just so niche, like just goth fashion. So I just try to really go across the board. And a lot of them are trend-based. I don't really focus on trends. I just really try to find what's new and exciting that might fall under the radar. And I guess I'll just have that. Okay, yeah, that's my blog. As for how I share it, it started as an image-based Tumblr site, but as interest grew, I went to WordPress so I could do some long-form blogging and, like I said, interviews, reviews. I publish a lot of editorials. And as for the other social networking, I use Facebook. I have both an official page and I also have my personal page. On the official page, I basically do exclusive content that might not fit into the blog. Like when I do photo shoots, I'll do behind the scenes photos on my page. I'll do daily feature content. Every day I have a style pick of the day. And then I also have my personal profile, which a lot of my readers interact with me through, because I basically wanted there to be more of a face behind the blog, especially when you're blogging about style. People want to make sure they want to listen to you. They want to judge what you're wearing. And so I talk exclusively about fashion on the official page, and on my personal page, I talk about whatever I want, but people really like that. Like, I make most of my connections actually through the personal page. And my Facebook is very, very image heavy, it's very visual, and Facebook is where I do most of my social networking. I also have a Twitter. I'm going to admit I don't enjoy using Twitter as much as Facebook. I feel like it's important to know where your strengths are and really zone in on them, but also spread out to where it's necessary. I also do daily feature content on Twitter. and I promote a lot of brands and interact with other bloggers. And last, I use Pinterest. I know a lot of people don't care for Pinterest. For me, it's very useful. It's basically just a visual extension of my blog. A lot of people ask me like, oh, where can I find places to buy such and such style clothing? And so sometimes I'll make like an image board for them on Pinterest. And I also do freelance stylist work, and that's also really good to do an image board and show to my readers if they ask me to work as a stylist for them. But now I'm going to
All right, hi everybody, I'm Evan, and I run a website called 100 Dates. So a little bit about me is I live in New York City, and I am a software consultant by day, just kind of like working in a big box. I try to do comedy at night, do improv comedy, but then in my social time, I guess for the last year, from July 2011 to July 2012, I went on 100 dates in a year. And I used the blog as a way to kind of propel the idea of doing this, and for a few different reasons. So, when I look at 100 dates, I try to think about what is being shared, like what's going out there. So what it was is what I just told you. It's this dating experiment where I went on 100 dates in a year. Part of it's social experiment, which I think the internet always loves, and it's kind of built for blogging and social media. And part of it's personal challenge, which is a huge part of the writing that goes behind it. So, what are you trying to share and why are you trying to share it? Well, for me, it's a pretty personal thing. It's my dating life. So to write it all down for myself is really important, but then, you're sharing it too. And putting both of those things into a blog, I felt like a blog was going to be the most kind of succinct, but also just the most beneficial way to go about presenting 100 dates to the world. So why share? Which is kind of touched on a couple of those briefly, but for one, I thought it'd be entertaining. I thought it'd be cool to see what some 20-something guy in New York City thinks of dating, and I thought people might be entertained by it. So okay, put it out there, put it in public. Under-publicized. What I mean by that is that there's plenty of dating and sex advice columns and sort of things that they're very, I felt, very hard-lined and sort of very like advice-based and things like that. But the idea of just sort of a person's internal thoughts while they're on a date is maybe something that you don't get to hear about that often, especially not particularly a male perspective, I think. So I thought that that would be a very interesting thing, and more people would want to hear about that. One of the biggest reasons why I decided to put this on a blog was accountability. I'm a weak-willed individual by nature, and I knew that I probably wouldn't follow through and go on all 100 of these dates unless I had a public eye on me kind of making sure that I did it. And people kind of keeping tabs on me and saying like, well, what's dates tonight? What's dates there? Why haven't you posted this? Why haven't you posted that? Without a blog, I probably would have just it would have faded into obscurity. I would have probably given up and not had completed the goal. So accountability was huge, and a blog is such a good way to do that because people can talk to you, people can read about what you're thinking, and sort of like follow the story as what you're doing while you're doing it, which I think is a really cool aspect of the blogging thing. And then the last was experience. I was very much in the mindset that I wanted to learn how to write better and write more and become conditioned to writing and blogging and trying to find for myself, also a big thing that's in the comedy world, is having a voice. And so I thought that creating a blog where I had to constantly write basically about my own life experiences would be a good way for me to find my experience with my voice. So that's what 100 Dates is, and that's why I share it. And this is just a little screen grab. I use Tumblr as my format for my blog. And there's a couple different reasons why I use Tumblr. One of the main reasons that it's a very social blogging format. If any of you aren't familiar with Tumblr, you're able to repost things that you like onto your own Tumblr. You're able to like things. I find it to be very, in and of itself, a very social format. As opposed to reposting maybe to Facebook or reposting to Twitter and getting the retweets and the likes and things that way. Tumblr lets you do it right there. And also with the chronological nature of the project, I like the fact that Tumblr is very much a stream and is a very chronologically based web platform. So the chronology of my own life follows the chronology of my website. And I think that that's something I really like about it as well. Yeah, so Riss had mentioned her Facebook page, her Facebook profile, her Twitter, and the fact that she uses Pinterest. So my other social media that I tend to use is I have a Facebook page. And as Riss mentioned that she uses it heavily and she really interacts a lot on Pinterest with a lot of people that read her blog, I don't use Facebook page that much. It's not that useful to me. Having a personal blog, you know, essentially like a diary that is online for everyone, I found Facebook to be very redundant with my own Facebook page. Most people that were, you know, look at my Facebook page for 100 dates are just my friends from Facebook anyways, and they are already annoyed with me enough. Which is why I found Twitter to be a much better resource. In my case, when I had the website and everything, it's very much you're reading oftentimes long form stuff of me writing about these dates. But how can you find out kind of like what's going on right in the moment, or you know, ask me a question, what do you think of this, what do you think of that, or maybe I can update people on what I'm doing without them even asking. That's a lot of what I use Twitter for. You know, it's very conversational for me. If you know, if the blog is very essay-like, the Twitter is, you know, like I am practically. I talk to a lot of people and can just repost there, but also just send out ideas, and you know, if I'm like upset about something, I can whine, do all that kind of stuff. It's what Twitter's good for. And with Twitter, I also always would I would always include Instagram and Foursquare, and I use those use all three of those tools together most of the time, because my posts go up well after I go on the dates. But so people want an idea and a portal into what's going on right now with Evan's dating life. And so what I was able to do is I would always take a picture of what I was wearing before I would go on the dates on Instagram. And Instagram would then immediately, I would get checked into Foursquare at the location so you could see where I was going on the date. Let's say it was a restaurant or something like that. So you can get a great date idea. And you can see, you know, how I'm feeling or what I look like, things like that. And it immediately goes out to my Twitter as well. And it was a really nice tool to have with this sort of like real life kind of blog. And that's it for me.
I think what you guys can see that there's a bunch of different similarities between Riss and Evan. It's not necessarily that they that one is better than the other in terms of platforms they use. It's really about how they use it, you know, the strengths that each one gives to their life. It seems that both of them are using it, you know, in a personal way. I think that's the number one thing that we have to remember is that sharing online isn't necessarily, you know, hey, this is me, this is my widget that I make. And look at it, 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 look here. Just keep looking, and you see that nonstop, nonstop. And you need to be personal, you know, to really touch people like kind of on a personal level. Because a lot of things have changed. Here's just some views on the internet. I mean, before 2006, there was nothing but negative things about the internet. You know, the internet keeps people at home. He's going out on dates because of the internet. He's not staying at home. You know what I mean? She's going out and she's, you know, helping people style. You're probably not going to be at home with that. The internet's destroying relationships. It's antisocial. Going on dates, she's helping with her passion. It doesn't seem very antisocial at all. But then after, I mean, there's just a small Q study that the strength of the internet tie shows that the web actually enhances social relations, that texting helps long-distance couples stay connected, and mobile phones for teens are not phones anymore, but they're a social lifeline. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but that's kind of why I'm doing my research, so we'll say. Here's just I love the graphic. I just realized now that it should be the version of these, not the bees and the birds, but that's besides the point. Sharing our interest in talking about ourselves activates the regions of the brain associated with the sense of satisfaction we get from food, money, or sex. So when they're going on dates and they're going and they're sharing their passion online, it gives you the same satisfaction that you feel in other parts of your life. You know what I mean? You might not know that. That's what the research is really showing now. And I mean, and in reality, we've been sharing content for thousands of years. Hey, I just made this awesome wheel. Let's put it on a cart. Hey, I just made this awesome tool. Let's go make some food off of it. You know, hey, look, fire. Let's go make some food with it. You know what I mean? So it's already been happening, but now it's just that it's easier for us to do it. You know, instead of saying, oh, hey, how was your date last night, Evan? Oh, well, you can just go on Foursquare and Instagram. You can see what I wore. You can see where I was. Boom, done. It's like it just gives us. It's just easier for us to share. And I think when you put that personal touch to it, regardless if you're helping someone find something, you know, that they needed to find that didn't have in their area, whether it be fashion or wanting to share your advice or share the expertise you have in terms of relationship. It also allows you to have like I guess a gauge time to kind of see how well you're doing, with likes, retweets, followers. Obviously, if you're getting a bunch of retweets and reshares and people are commenting, someone is liking what you're sharing. I mean, that's kind of the way that they show they care, is by interacting with you in that digital format. Now I'm gonna get all psychological. I'm sorry. One of the main reasons that people decide to connect with others on social media channels is to have a sense of belonging to a community. And Riz talked about that too. She kind of felt there's a type of being underrepresented with it. It does. It allows you to branch out to people and talk to people that you wouldn't normally talk to, people that you always talk to, but to always keep a community and a conversation going around the topic of the content that you like. People react to content that touches them on an emotional or personal level. Obviously, in Evan's case, that's an emotional and a personal level. You know what I mean? And if you can balance it properly, you're going to be able to have content that everyone's going to want to share, because they're going to appreciate the fact that you're kind of giving them a little piece of your life, regardless if it's your offline or your online life. So if you make sure to offer content that is arranged in a format that is easy to follow, it's presented clearly and logically, and has personal elements, people will pay attention and want to continue engaging. And that's obviously the main thing we want when we're sharing content online. Using content as relevant and as a personal feel of it is a very intelligent choice. When it comes to sharing your content, the main thing that I always like to stress is that you need to be yourself. You don't want to just share things like I was saying, share. You want to tell them exactly who you are without overexposing them, because it seems like, I know for me, when I go on Facebook, I must see baby pictures all the time. I have a baby. This is my new baby. This is my new husband. This is my new husband. And it's like every single person. Hey, I don't have a wife yet, so I'm seeing this stuff and I'm like a little overexposed by it. But I mean, when you see the different way that people post, you can see that there's definitely a bunch of there's different ways that people are online. There are 4 types of online shares. The first one's the altruist, the person who's helpful, reliable, thoughtful, and they like to really just pass along information on their blog. And you can see that I think that both person ever kind of a combination of a lot of these. It really just depends on the type of content you want to share and when you're sharing. And there's the careerist, really they just use it for their career. Regardless if they're trying to look for a job actively or if they're trying to, get some type of personal relationships with other people, which is great. And there's hipsters who are way too cool to, we don't do this Facebook and this MySpace, and they're probably going to do, they're less likely to email. They're going to do anything that's new. I guess I put Twitter on there, but Twitter is not necessarily new anymore. So they're probably going to use Skype or Google Plus or some crazy new hip thing that we don't even know about yet. And then there's boomerangs. And I put that it's for validation and reaction, that they only share content from that, but I don't want to make it sound like it's negative. It's really not, but it's if you're putting information out there about what you feel about with fashion, or you're putting your information out there about what you felt about a relationship, I don't think you're necessarily doing it just to get a reaction. You could be doing it to see if what you're sharing is valid, you know what I mean? And I think that's a good part. They're empowered with information. They use Twitter and Facebook to post thoughts, questions, and comments to engage other users, which is extremely important. And then lastly, why do we share online? Like I was saying earlier, we don't have to worry about, let me just give this message to someone and I'll send it off into oblivion on some messengers, on a carrier pigeon or snail mail. We could get information and share right away. We can give more content, since we could do that. We could do it more often, with more people that we would know or not know, and it's quick. One of the main reasons that I feel like we share online is to bring valuable and entertaining content to others, to define ourselves to others, to grow and nourish relationships, for self-fulfillment, because I mean, we are doing this, we could be doing this to help each other, we could be doing it also to help ourselves, and to market causes or brands, which is what everyone's doing now. You can't go on TV without seeing, like us on Facebook, or get up with a conversation on Twitter, and then you go on Twitter, and then the show's over. There goes that. But I think both of the blogs and Tumblrs and Instagram, both the platforms that they've used really kind of exemplify what I was trying to say in terms of why we share and the different ways that you can share and how it can help your content get out there a little bit better. And that's definitely it. I mean, I can't wait to get my research done so I can maybe have a more concrete understanding of what we share online. So hopefully within a year I'll have that done. If you guys have any questions for Chris or Evan or myself?